Greetings gastronauts, this is KeefCooks, I'm Keef, and today I'm going to show you how to do a wonderful dessert, lemon meringue pie. In the history of KeefCooks, nobody has ever requested that I do lemon meringue pie, which is a shame because it's one of the world's most wonderful desserts. I did do it a couple of years ago, it was rubbish. I mean, it was great, but the video was rubbish, so we're hiding that. Right, but anyway, no requests, so I'll do some random shout-outs. We've got Tris Baker, and we've got Timoteo Mendez, and we've got Charmazingable, or Charmaine, or, you know, Charmazingable, I don't know. Anyway, it tickled me. So yeah, I was thinking of meringue because I love it. And I did the pavlova last week, and I had a lemon sitting around for a fortnight, which needs using up really. Right, lemon meringue pie, probably quite easy, let's do it. So we've got three elements to deal with. We need pastry and we need the filling, which is basically more or less lemon curd, and we need the meringue. So the ingredients for the pastry, I've got 150 grams of plain white all-purpose flour. I've got 100 ml of water. I've got a tablespoon of caster sugar, the yolk of one egg, and 80 grams of butter. It's best if your butter is cold. So yeah, the great thing about this recipe, it uses in total 3 eggs, which is 1 egg yolk in this, 2 egg yolks in the filling, and 3 egg whites in the meringue. So that's a bit magical, isn't it? And economical. Right, so first thing to do is cut the butter into little bits and whack it in there. Actually, I lied. Well, I was wrong. First thing I'm going to do is mix in the sugar, and then we'll put the butter in little blobs. Woo! I don't normally have this problem, but it's actually 20 degrees Celsius here today in sunny Leeds, and my butter's melting. Crikey, that never happens. So when you've got your butter in, you want to just rub it with your fingertips until you finish up with a mixture that looks like fine breadcrumbs. Right, that looks crummy enough to me. Oops. Separate the egg yolk the messy way. Oh dear. Just give that a little stir and pop in most of the water. We might not need all of it. In fact, yeah, that's come together quite nicely. Then I'll just wrap it in plastic film and stick it in the fridge to rest because the temperature is actually being a problem. Right, I'm ready to make the pastry case. So I've got my pastry nicely rested. I've got a tin with removable bottom, and that is that's about 20 centimeters, 8 inches. So we're going to blind bake the base first. So I need some flour on my worktop and my pastry and my monster rolling pin. I love this rolling pin, it's brilliant. So we just roll it into a circle. I kind of think there's going to be too much pastry here, so I might make a mini meringue as well. That's a bit of a mess. Start again. This is actually quite a delicate dough, so you don't want to overwork it. So roll the pastry around your rolling pin. I've got lots of flour on the underside, which will help it stop sticking. I'm not using butter because that makes the pastry a bit greasy. And just press it into the tin, and it's easier to do if you use a bit of spare dough, because then you don't rip the dough with your fingernails. And I've accidentally cut it there. I'll have to stick a bit on. So I'm just cutting off the mega excess. I'm not going to cut it to the edge of the tin just yet because it will shrink when it bakes. So I've got this left over, and I'll make a little one in there. Actually, might even be 2, never know. So there's the pastry case, and we just want to prick it with a fork. You don't want your fork to go all the way through the pastry. This is just to stop it, help stop it puffing up, because that's what it wants to do. And the other thing to help stop it puffing up is a weight. I use some rice. Other people use dried beans or whatever. You can actually spend money on baking beans if you wish to. So I've got some greaseproof paper, which I've just squished up, crumpled up, because that makes it easier to adopt the shape of the case, and then pour in the rice. Just have to remember not to eat it at any point. Right, so you want to get your oven preheating to 180 degrees Celsius if it's a convection oven, a fan oven, or 200 degrees Celsius if it isn't. Right, I'm using the little oven. This is a combi oven, and we got this a year ago, and I'd completely forgotten that it wasn't just a microwave. It's actually a microwave, a convection oven, and a grill or broiler. So it's brilliant. Oops. I'll slam my pastry cases in, and they want to cook for 15 minutes. So while that's going, you might be wondering why we blind bake pastry cases, and the reason is, well, two reasons. One is, with this, you do this with open-topped pies and flans and things and quiches, because the fillings don't take as long to cook as the pastry, so you want the pastry to get a head start, kind of thing. And the other thing is, the filling won't sink into the pastry. You want that with like a meat pie, because it's wonderful, but you don't want that with this kind of pie flan type thing. Okay, there's the partially blind baked cases. We just remove the weighting. And what I'm going to do now is just trim off the excess pastry, because it probably shouldn't shrink anymore. Fingers crossed. And I'll just paint the inside with some beaten egg, and again this will stop the filling from sinking into the pastry, and do the sides and the rim as well. And then that wants to go back in the oven for another 10 minutes. Okay, there's our pastry case, blind baked and looking nice. And so the next thing to do is make the filling, the lemon curd, and the ingredients for that are here. I've got 2 tablespoons of corn flour, cornstarch, 80 grams of caster sugar, powdered sugar, 80 grams of unsalted butter, 2 egg yolks hidden away inside there, and the zest and juice of 2 lemons and the juice of 1 orange. And now I want to get the zest off the lemons. Oh, that smells really lemony. Amazing. Now we need to get the juice out of these lemons and the orange. Now I'll just put this on low heat, and we want to stir the corn flour and the sugar together with the lemon rind, and then gradually add in the juice, the lemon and orange juice. Basically we want this all to get mixed into a smooth kind of paste, and as it warms up it will start to thicken. Okay, that's nice and thick and gloopy, so we'll take that off the heat and we'll add the butter a bit at a time. Stir that till it's melted, and if it's getting too thick you can add a bit of hot water. I think this is a little bit too thick. Now it's possibly a bit too runny. Come on butter, melt, melt, melt. And now we pop the egg yolks in. Stir that in well. Nice, smooth, goopy mixture, and leave that to cool down. Right, so we've got our pastry case made, we've got our lemon curd made, and now the last bit is to make the meringue. So I've got 150 grams of caster sugar and the 3 egg whites. Some people also put a teaspoon of corn flour in, and I would have done that, but I've just finished it off. Useless, eh? Right, beat this for about 5 minutes till you get stiff peaks. Okay, that looks pretty stiff to me. So now what we want to do is add in the sugar a little bit at a time. Keep on beating that till it's all incorporated and smooth and glossy. Right, so there's the meringue, looking lovely. Now, my phone just went off, and you know I said earlier that nobody in the entire history of KeefCooks has asked for a lemon meringue pie. I just got a YouTube message from Stefan Kempkes saying, any chance of making a lemon tart? Stefan, case, lemon mixture, I reckon that's a lemon tart. And I also reckon you're psychic, or you know where I live and you're hiding in the garden somewhere. Anyway, this is for you as well. So I bought this palette knife, I might as well, I should really use it. So we'll just spread out the filling so there's no gaps, and try and get a nice smooth finish on the top. And now spoon on the meringue. Start around the edge and then fill in the middle. I've got a slight suspicion that this might not work perfectly because meringues don't like humidity. Egg whites are hygroscopic, which means they absorb moisture from the air, and if that happens then you're not going to get the best meringue ever. So it's a really hot day, amazingly, and it's starting to feel kind of muggy. But anyway, we'll see. Looking good so far. So that goes in the oven for 20 minutes. Okay, time's up. Now, the tricky thing with meringues is you have to let them cool down slowly. So what you can do is just open the door very slightly, and that will let the heat out gently, so theoretically the meringue won't crack and collapse. And leave it in there for half an hour, and then we can take it out and put it on a wire rack to cool down completely. Okay, it's been cooling in the oven for about half an hour. It's still fairly warm actually, but it's looking spectacular. So let's see if we can, I'm not sure, I don't know if I want to do this, but let's see if we can get them out of the tin. Yeah. And ooh, get them on the cooling rack without smashing him to bits. This might not be a great idea, but no. I think I'll just leave that for a bit longer to cool down, so I can see the filling is not set properly yet. Okay, I think we'll just zap this with the old torch to blow. Almost set that one on fire. Hey ho. Don't try this at home, children. Right. Oh, it is. Oh no. Oh, that's ruined that. Oh dear. Okay, it looks to me like the filling, the lemon curd, is actually a bit runny. So I don't quite know what to do, but maybe I'll stick it in the fridge for a bit, see what happens. Okay, magnificent peaks and troughs, and I'm gonna have a bit. That is obscenely good. Oh. And quite hard to make, but worth it. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed it. Now please do the usual: likes, shares, comments, subscriptions, donations, patronage, all that good stuff, or just some of it. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.